Hello, Professor Morgan here showing you how to set up a paper in MLA 9th edition style using Microsoft Word. So let's get right to it. First thing we want to do is set up some of the default settings in the paper. And MLA formatting uses, as far as the font it uses, it says you can use a readable font and you can check with your instructor. I would say to be safe, Times New Roman size 12 is your bet. And so make sure that you're just consistent in whatever font you use, but Times New Roman size 12 is kind of the standard. So make sure your font is set up. The next thing we're going to set up is the layout, the margins, okay? But before we do that, we want to kind of see where the margins are. So here's a little bonus tip. So if you click on the view and you click on ruler, okay, you can see right now this kind of shows how long the whatever. Yeah, we got a problem here because we're supposed to have 1 inch margins, and these margins are not more than they're a lot more than 1 inch. That's like 2 inches. So how I can fix that is I go to layout, margins, and I want 1 inch all the way around. So it's just the normal one. So I click on this. Boom. And now all of a sudden it has changed. So that's 1 inch over, and there's the ruler. Okay, so now we've changed our margins. We have our font. So now we're going to click back on the home button. Next thing we need to do is set the paragraphs. Everything in MLA is double spaced, okay, with no extra gaps. So one way to do this is you click on the little button here for paragraph settings, okay, and it brings up this little window. Now what I want to do is I want to go to the spacing and select double. Now, if you've fallen asleep to my melodious voice, please wake up because you also need to click on do not add spaces between paragraphs of the same style. This is the biggest, most common issue that I see students do. Is they forget to check this box, because if you don't check that box, it'll add a space between paragraphs, and everything should be double spaced. So make sure there's that. Okay, so double spaced, make sure that box is checked, hit OK. Well, we still haven't done anything. Look, this still looks blank. Okay, so let's actually do some stuff. All right, so in the top left-hand corner, the first thing we're going to do is write the name of the person who is writing the paper. Okay, that's me. Okay, next, then I'm just going to hit enter, and then I put in the name of the instructor. Please use their title and their first name and their last name. See if you can guess what who that is. Okay, and then the name of the course. Let's say this is English 217, and please include the section number because your professor may be using maybe teaching multiple sections, and then the date. Now, I looked into this, and the standard for MLA formatting, even in the 9th edition, is the day first, then the month spelled out, January, okay, and then the year. So when we go the smallest date time, so a day is smaller than a month is smaller than a year, we do not use any commas. In America, we would write this maybe January 31st, 2026. Is that technically wrong? Well, MLA kind of is a little vague about that. This is the standard. I would just go with this just to be on the safe side. Okay, now that I have this information here, and it needs to be in this order, another thing I need to do is I need to add the header. Now the header is information that's going to be up here in the corner, and how we access the header is I'm just going to double left click at the top of the page, and it opens up this thing called the header, and all this stuff up here changes. So when we do that, we want to make sure that different first page and different odd and even pages, these are not checked. Okay, so we definitely don't make sure those are not checked. And then we need to add the page number. So I'm going to go over here to page number, and at the top of the page, we want it to be all the way to the right. Just the plain number. Don't do anything funky. Okay, we're just plain number over here. Okay, and then I'm going to type in my last name, and then hit space. Now, you'll notice if you have a sharp eye here, there's something different. Remember how I said the font needed to be consistent? This is not the same font as this. So one way to fix that is if you just left click and highlight this, just kind of drag your mouse over that, you can see exactly what font it is. Say, oh, I want it to be Times New Roman. I fixed it. It's like a magician. Look at that. Okay. All right, so now that is there. Now you'll notice that like this is like a darker black and this is like gray because we're working up here in the header section. So to get out of the header, you can either just close it here, or if you just double click, left click down here into the paper, it'll get rid of the header. Boom, boom, well, I get you out of the header mode. So now the header is kind of like in a gray, and now you know you're working in the paper proper. Okay, very good. Okay, so now we need to go and we need to put in the title of the paper. Okay. Boop. Now, one thing you want to double check is that your left aligned here is on that 1-inch margin. Okay, so it's not moved over. So make sure that's right where it should be. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to center, and then I'm going to type in the title. Again, I only hit the enter button once, not twice, because sometimes people like put a big gap between the date and the title. Now, when it comes to the title, it's done a little funky. So let me just type one out here and I'll explain it to you. Might help if I can spell right. Okay. All right. Now you say, wait a minute, Professor Morgan, why did you not capitalize A and N? So the rule of thumb is that you capitalize all the nouns, all the verbs, all the adjectives and stuff like this, but you don't capitalize common words that are like articles or prepositions. Okay, so that's why A is not capitalized and N is not capitalized. So I didn't create this, folks. I'm just showing you how to use it. Okay, so now I've got my this. Again, the title is not in bold. It's not in italics. It's not in quotation marks. None of that. There's no punctuation at the end. It's just that. Okay. Again, everything here is double spaced. Now I'm ready to write my paper. So I'm going to go back to left align. Now, the first line of every paragraph in your paper needs to be indented, and the easiest way to do that is just to hit the tab button. Okay, boop, I've hit the tab button. Now the tab button's over here. Okay, so now I'm ready to start writing my paper. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video to show you some stuff. Okay, so there I am writing. So I just started writing my paper here. Okay, it doesn't like that. Why do you got to be difficult? Why do you got to be difficult? Okay, anyway. Okay, so you can see how everything here is double spaced all the way through. And then when I started my next paragraph, this was indented. Now, if you have those extra gaps, let me show you how to fix it. So let's say I highlight this whole thing and I go back to this paragraph button. And if I forgot to check this box, look what happens. Oh, it adds extra spaces between different paragraphs. So like the gap between here and here is not the same size as here and here. This is bigger because it added an extra line. That is bad. That is, not good. Okay, so the way we can fix that is just highlight the whole thing, go to the little button up here, and then we're going to just click on the box. And then it just makes it all nice and nice. Okay, so that's it for the first video. To figure out how to, to watch a video on how to do the works cited page, please look up here in the corner, the link as far as the video on how to do that. So, but you need to do this first to set it up properly, and then the works cited page is in a different video. So, if you've found this helpful, please like and subscribe. That whole thing, I got to do that just because I think that's necessary. Anyway, all right, thank you so much and have a great day.